All right. Welcome, welcome. Day 5 of our How to Yes and Yourself challenge. And today we are playing with the game New Choice. So, just as a recap, I have been sharing for the last 5 days improv inspired whole body exercises that you can do on your own to say yes and to your thoughts, your feelings, and your sensations. So I am showing you simple, powerful tools that I learned both through my improv training, and through my body centered, uh, body wise therapy training. I'm a certified life coach as well as an improviser. And I'm sharing these tools so that you can radically accept what is going on inside of you, what is happening, what are all the little bits in going on within you, whether it's a feeling that you can name, or if it's a sensation or an energy or a movement, or um, a way of speaking or a way of walking, a behavior pattern, an issue, anything that you are experiencing is welcome when you use the technique of yes and I've broken it down into 5 different play moves or exercises that you can do. I like to call them moves because exercise sounds like work, and I'm all about personal transformation being fun and simple. So, fun, number one, fun, because I'm not going to do it if it's not fun. I like to get those reward chemicals going, those happy chemicals that just make me feel good, that make me want to come back and do it more and more. And if it feels like I have to beat myself up, or I have to, work really hard, and it's a drag, I'm probably not going to do it. And if it's something that makes me feel, like I said, beat myself up, like feel bad about myself, like make myself wrong for the experience that I'm having, like I shouldn't be having that experience, I'm also probably not going to do it, because I want to be able to be with any experience that I'm having in the moment. I want to be able to be with myself. I'm here to experience life on this planet, and that comes with all ranges of experiences and feelings. I sincerely believe and have experienced that all feelings come out of the same hose. I can't say this feeling is bad, I don't want to feel it, and then expect to be able to feel the other feelings, the good feelings all the time. Because and expect to be able to experience my full range of creativity if I'm limiting myself. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that I'm always just hanging out in fear or anger. It means that when I'm feeling those feelings that we tend to label uncomfortable, or we don't want them, I'm willing to play with them. I'm willing to bring a whole new perspective on them so that I can have a good time experiencing those feelings. Whew, I just kind of launched into that. So I want to remind you that we are streaming live on my page, Play It Out Loud, and also in our private group, Play It Out Loud, Transform Your Life Through Play and Improv. And I invite you to share this video out to your friends, people you know that you think would get a kick out of it and have some fun with this. And so that we can all practice together, so that we can play together and support each other. Yeah, so I love turning problems into playful explorations and new possibilities. And the way that I've experienced the most growth, the most impact, is through using my whole body. I love speaking, I love talking, I love words. Um, I know there are people out there that like them maybe even more than I do. I love to talk. So I'm not going to put that down, but at the same time, I want to be able to use my whole body as an instrument for expression. So, lots of times I will invite myself to let go of the words and just use my body to express and shift my perspective from a head centric viewpoint on the problem or the issue that I'm exploring to something more, I was going to say wholesome, like all inclusive. So give me a shout out if you're here and ready to play and you're excited to play this game, New Choice. This is definitely a classic improv game that we'll be applying to one of our personal issues or potentials that we want to explore today. And just again, as a recap to let you know, if you've missed it, on day one, what we did is we learned how to explore and heighten. Explore and heighten, that is also a very basic improvisation move, because really what you're doing is you're noticing what is there, what's happening in the moment, and then you're making it bigger. You're going more in that direction. It's the ultimate yes move, is to go more in the direction that it's already going. And of course, that can seem kind of scary if you're having an intense feeling, or if you have judgments about the feeling that you're having. But what I've found is that by going more in the direction and heightening it, making it bigger and bigger and bigger, I learned so much more about my experience that I'm having, and I'm actually able to make it big enough that it gets a little bit fun. It can get a little bit ridiculous, and I can move through by allowing myself then to have that experience and come out on the other side, generally with a sense of peace and a sense of clarity. And really knowing what I want on the other side of that by saying yes and in that way. And then the second day we did whole body expressing. So again, I already talked about this, using our whole body to tell our stories, express about our issues, really can loosen up a lot for you. And then on the third day, we did interviewing a character. So what we did is we found out what kind of inner characters are in there, like running the show at some points in our lives, like when we feel reactive or when we feel like we're stuck in a rut and we can't locate our creativity to respond in a different way. It can also often be a character or a persona that is that we learned when we were young, and it was a survival strategy. It got us something that we needed when we were young, but it often is not working now as an adult. And so we use some key questions in a really important order that they're asked to interview those characters and learn more about how they feel and what they really want. And then yesterday we played with space. And that was all about getting a whole new perspective on our issue by taking something that we're struggling with and actually imagining it as a real thing out in space, and then interacting with it, how we're trying to solve it or get through it in our heads. Are you trying to push your way through it, or are you hiding it, or are you fascinated with it? So you actually got to act out what it was, what the way in which we were engaged with that problem. Very insightful. So today we're experimenting with New Choice, this game in which you try on new ways of doing or saying something in order to shift your experience, right? And really, shake up your experience of that experience. I say this experience a lot. Your relationship with that experience. So yesterday we discussed a little bit about the difference between why and how. And why, when we ask why something is happening, why am I having this experience? For me, it takes me further from my experience, because then I get into analytical thinking, right? And I'm trying to find the connections, and I'm trying to figure out, why me, and what were all the links that happened, actions that happened before this happened, and it gets me very stuck in my head. Whereas how can bring me into harmony with what I'm actually experiencing. So when I use my whole body to observe and feel and notice how I'm moving, how I'm breathing, how I'm speaking, my tone of voice and my rhythm, I get a lot more information while actually being with myself, while actually being in my experience. So, playing with, and learning about how helps me be with my feelings. Like, for example, okay, so I can say, I'm scared, or I feel scared. And that's, what, right? That's the what. And it's helpful to an extent. It is helpful to be able to name feelings, I think, to an extent, except for me if I have a judgment about that feeling. So I've noticed that if I just say, I feel scared, and I have a judgment about it, then I'm, still keeping myself kind of distant from it, because I don't really want to just feel it. I'm just going to say it. And I'm kind of curious if anybody else out there has that experience where it's not always that satisfying to be able to name your feeling. I feel angry, I feel frustrated. Um, it doesn't always land in a way where I actually feel it. I'm just saying that I feel it. And I can also try and figure out why I'm scared, right? The question of why. And that takes me out of the present moment again, and out of my experience, to try and determine, who scared me or what scared me. But when I notice how I'm doing scared, what are the, like, I break it down into the pieces, right? Oh, I'm doing scared, like talking really fast, a shallow breathing, tension in my lower back, eyes flickering all over the place, scattered thoughts, one right after the other. This layer of noticing takes me right into my experience, right? It takes me right in without a lot of extra judgments or criticisms to go along with it. So I'm going to tell you an example of how I played with New Choice, and then I'm going to lead you through a brief, maybe 5-minute exploration that you can do right from the comfort of your own home, and you can try it on yourself. So a few days ago, I was beating myself up again about not getting up on time. And so what I did is I set myself a 2-minute timer, and I let myself tell the story of, oh, I really should have got up on time. And now that I didn't, I'm not going to accomplish as much as I wanted to. And I'm going to get distracted from my business, what I wanted to work on, because my son's going to get up. And when I started talking out loud, I also started letting my whole body express. And what I found myself pacing back and forth in a little rut, back and forth, back and forth. And so I noticed that, and I just was like, okay, this is how I'm doing this story right now. And then I set myself another 2-minute timer. And this time, when I told my story, I tried on new choices frequently. And so when I told my story this time, I kept the same words as much as I could. I kept telling the story with the same content, But now I'm moving my body in different ways. So I spun in circles. I tried a high pitched voice a low pitched voice, slow motion, talked like a pirate. So I just tried on as many different ways and moving and speaking as I could think of in the moment. And what happened was, as I became completely uninterested in my story and beating myself up about that story. And I started to feel more energized. I started to feel more creative. And I just was able to just let that go and go straight into my day and start my day. So that's an example. And that's exactly how we're going to play today with this. Let me double check a couple things on Facebook before we get started. Okay, great. All right, so I want you to locate yourself in a space where you can easily move around, because I'd like you to be standing and maybe milling about, so walking about your space if you can. And I'm going to invite you to tell your story for about 2 minutes, minute and a half. Let me grab a timer here for us. Okay, great. And try not to change anything about, how your body starts to participate in your story. You're just going with whatever starts to happen. And so go ahead and locate a issue, a problem, or a potential. And the potential is, it could be something that you want to create in the world or in your life that you want to talk about. And you're going to speak out loud. Okay, you're going to speak your story out loud, which is actually the first new choice, because most of us just run the story quietly up in our head. We don't speak it out loud. And begin. So go ahead and walk around and begin talking about your issue. Let your body express. Again, without changing anything. Notice your posture. Notice what parts of your body are moving. Notice what parts of your body aren't moving as you tell this story. Notice your tone of voice. And again, you're not changing anything yet. You're simply noticing. Notice the rhythm of your voice. Go ahead, keep talking about this. Notice any repeating patterns. Repeating directions, repeating hand motions. Okay, now bring that to a close. And tune in, scan your body, scan your experience. And if you could rate your sense of aliveness, from a 0 being practically dead, not feeling very alive or enlivened, to a 10, feeling very alive and enlivened, give yourself a number. And now we're going to do this again for about 2 minutes. And this time I'm going to be calling out new choices for you to try on as you tell your story. So you're going to do your best to keep your story about the same. You're going to be talking about the same thing that you just talked about. Excuse me. And I'm going to call out, so make sure you can hear me, but do move around in your space. We're going to do this for about 2 minutes. So go ahead and start again telling your story, just as you were before. And now your body is 10 times heavier. Your body is 10 times heavier. Keep telling your story. And these aren't cumulative choices. So every time I give you a new choice, you can shift out of the other one. And now I want you to shift into a new posture, a new posture. And now take on the air of feeling very giddy while you're telling your story, very happy or giddy. Now begin to sing your story. Sing your story. And now your story, tell it very sadly, very sad. Speed it up. Speed it up. You talk it super fast now. Super fast. Just get it out. Talk as fast as you can. Now slow motion. You're moving in slow motion, speaking in slow motion. All right, let's bring that to a close. That was 2 minutes. There's so many good ones to try on. That gives you a taste. I want you to scan your body, scan your experience, and now give yourself another rating between 0 and 10 of your sense of aliveness or how enlivened you feel in the moment. And pop into the chat, pop into the comment section your before and after number. And then also let me know, what happened to your story. Did anything about your story shift? Was it challenging to hold on to your story? Or was it pretty much the same? What was your experience of trying on all these new choices while you were telling your story? Yeah, it has been a really cool wild ride to bring these 5 moves to you. These are 5 yes and moves that I am just super duper passionate about, that I use all of the time, that I use in combination with each other a lot. So, particularly heightening and whole body expression goes so well when you're interviewing a character and you need to get into character or persona. And using my whole body when I express, I do that like I do it unconsciously now because I practice it so much. Um, but it comes in handy like when we're playing new choice, and when we are playing with space, to really be able to get into your experience, to give it your all and play full out. Whole body expressing is really helpful with that. So I encourage you to practice them, play with them in different kinds of combinations. And if you're not already, definitely jump into our Play It Out Loud group, because I go live just about every week and share different ways that I'm combining these moves all of the time. I also invite folks to jump in and play games with me. And I post all of my events on there as well as on my page. So you can, find me, hit me up. I hope we meet up in an event or in my group. And I so appreciate you joining me and learning these yes and moves so that you can really experience the joy of having your feelings, of noticing your thoughts and being with yourself in every moment that we're here living our lives. So thank you so much. I am going to be opening up a Zoom room, which I will post into the chat before I hop off here. So if you want to hop in and say hello, discuss, or play this game again with me, you will be able to do that. All right. So let me see, make sure it pops up. And there it is. So all you got to do is click the link and you'll be taken to the Zoom room that I will be in. Otherwise, I will see you next time and keep playing it full out. Till then, bye.